Let's scoot ahead, though. Chelsea, West Ham. Chelsea hosts the Hammers. What'd you see in that one?
Tough spot for West Ham. They are in the throes of a relegation battle in the WSL. You know, lucky draw in the FA Cup. Oh, I get to go up against the juggernaut of the league. Isn't that wonderful? One of the things that stuck out to me, into the channel favorite, Lauren James, from the opening whistle, she'll have a go. Why not? If she's at 25 yards out, that's fine. She's at 27 yards out, that's fine. She's going to take her shots. And I just think, like we talk about Lyon scoring early, there's got to be something about a side where it's like, okay, Lauren James is coming at me. Oh, and she's already firing shots 3 minutes into the match. That's fantastic. Surely we can withstand this for the remaining 87 minutes of this football game. But credit to those fighting Hammers. Let's go. Ball over the top into French striker Viviane Assaï, who collects it with one good touch, gets forward with another good touch, and then hits a spinning low shot, kind of like across the goal. And Musovic, she's in your starting 11. She's a destroyer of worlds back there at goalkeeper. She's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. She looked completely fooled by this shot. It was such a clever way to kind of spin it in across the goal. 18 minutes in, West Ham up 1-0 at Chelsea. And even the announcers were like, oh, okay, we have a game here.
I mean, it wasn't just the announcer. Asai herself, she was just like, all right, here we go.
That was awesome.
Which was awesome. Asai gets behind Khadija Buchanan on that play. And that was really where the play gets broken open.
Yep.
Announcer mentioned the goal totally against the run of play. I think everybody was surprised. But shout out to her. Great finish. Great effort winning the ball in the first place. Beating the defender from sort of a disadvantaged position. And yeah, we definitely had ourselves a game.
Yeah. And so Chelsea, they're obviously going to answer in kind. They are a team full of mentality monsters who are just going to go straight ahead. We're running at goal. I got to tell you, something that doesn't seem enjoyable for any set of defenders is when Ashley Lawrence, Chelsea defender, kind of starts to push up. And now you just have a revolving game of triangles and 1-2s between Ashley Lawrence, Lauren James, and Guro Wrighton. And then, oh, by the way, Fran Kirby's in the middle waiting to receive a pass, just in case. That just doesn't seem like a great time for any defender. But West Ham played their version of underdog football, and they did it well. They stayed really compact. I mean, their ability to have 8 players in their own 18 when they needed it was pretty indicative of what had to be the game plan going into the match. And I thought they did it well. Chelsea ended up making 3 changes at the 59th minute, which I think was Emma Hayes kind of maybe sending a message to everybody, with Mia Fishel coming on for the aforementioned Fran Kirby, which is a great luxury to have. It's like, oh, thank God Fran Kirby's going off the field. Here comes Mia Fishel. And you got to wonder, man, Sam Kerr, devastating injury. That sucks. It's a loss for all of us. It's also an opportunity for the young American Mia Fishel to come out there and be a true number 9 for that squad. And what do you know? As we get into the match, Mia Fishel would play a role there.
She played a role.
Yes.
Safe to say. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely interested to see no Sam Kerr, kind of like what Emma Hayes had tactically. And yeah, bringing Fishel on. And then again, shout out to Johanna Kaneryd, who is also just a menace out there. Like, she's got the ball and you're just on your heels. You know, she puts in a sweet ball right to Fishel. Fishel controls, turns, strikes. I mean, just everything 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, equalizes. And now we're tied at 1. The U.S. women's national team fan in me lights up at that moment just because I'm like, okay, here we go. It's definitely happening. And it's happening under the tutelage of Emma Hayes, which you got to imagine there's going to be a little carryover from that. So very exciting times for U.S. women's national team fans.
I like that you describe it as like the positioning, the ability to bring the ball down, the turn and the hit, all 10, 10, 10. The poise to do those things, the poise and the patience when you know defenders are, they have to be converging on you in that moment. At her young age, to be able to do that, and then on top of all of that, the physicality to keep the defender off you while you're doing that. And I mean, she is an elite prospect. I think that goes without saying, like, and she's probably past I'm only using the term prospect because she's so young, But
Mhm.
yeah, I love a good overreaction. I say it all the time on this podcast, man. But if that is somebody that the U.S. women's national team is cycling in as their number 9, there are decisions that have to be made when you have both Sophia Smith and Mia Fishel. You have to figure out a way to get those players on the field because Fishel looks like the real deal, man.
What makes Fishel so interesting when you think about the international game, and you mentioned it, West Ham had that entire fucking area packed.
Yeah.
It felt like the pass from Kaneryd to Fishel went through 5 or 6 or 7 defenders before it found Fishel. And for just her to just be able to like smash it home amongst all that chaos, that is what international play is like, especially for teams going up against the US. You know, like I love Sophia Smith, but her game is a little bit more finesse. She is going to benefit from having some of the extra space. And, you know, sometimes when you're facing a team in an international tournament that feels like they're at a disadvantage, that space is just not going to be there. So a player like Fishel, incredibly valuable to a squad.
I always try to limit the Manchester City references. If you can figure out a way to play Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez at the same time, then Emma Hayes should figure out a way to play Mia Fishel and Sophia Smith at the same time. And we already talked about the coaching pedigree. She's going to figure out a way to do it.
100%. Very much looking forward to that. But this one wasn't done. We're still at 1-1. What'd you see from here?
I got very excited about Mia Fishel. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, we get to watch her a lot. Even with me being a Lionesses fan for a long time. A 3 Lions and Lionesses fan for a long time. Hard to not get excited. We're going to see a lot of the U.S. women's national team. I think when it gets to 1-1, it didn't even feel like West Ham really slumped the shoulders and kind of looked like they were doomed. I think they were still in it. Now, there was a lot of holding on for dear life, but I don't think it was a mentality thing. I think it was, frankly, a skill for skill, position for position type of thing. They hold on, and they got that thing to extra time. And I think that, we're talking about moral victories on this podcast. I think that's huge for West Ham. Again, I'll mention it. They're in a relegation battle. So to be able to have that in their back pocket, Christy Mewis, the cavalry's coming. She wasn't in the squad for this match, but she's showing up to kind of give them a little bit of a boost. They get the thing to extra time. Nuskin plays a pass to, as you mentioned, Kaneryd, who doesn't do anything but serve perfect passes into the 6-yard box. And Kaneryd plays it absolutely perfect into the ironclad Scottish forehead of Captain Erin Cuthbert. And that thing's going in every single time. It looked like the winner. It felt like the winner. It was the deserved winner at 101 minutes. It's hard to beat Chelsea, and you got to beat Chelsea when you play an extra 30 minutes of football. Tall task for anybody.
Definitely shout out to West Ham. They definitely made this one a game. Was excited to see this one go to extra time. But you called it, man. Kaneryd's pass onto that forehead. I mean, if there's one forehead you want to put it on, that's the one. 100%. Just perfect. I mean, it kind of feels like Kaneryd should also get credit for a goal. Her service in was just so on the money.
Yeah, man. And I still think West Ham didn't pack it in after that. I don't think they gave up. I think the mentality was still there. But 4 minutes later, at 105 minutes, Agnes Beever-Jones, she plays in a chip that looks like it's going to be a goal. And Nuskin is there to, maybe the kind read of it is that she was there to make sure to tap it in. But in my read of it, looks like she kind of poached a goal there. And I think she felt it too, because as soon as she did it, she had that sheepish look on her face. And I think she literally put her hands up and ran over to Agnes Beever-Jones. It was like, oh, yo, my bad. I stole that one from you. Which is just one of my favorite happenings in football. It's 3-1. If 2-1 wasn't already a wrap, which it felt like it was, there's no coming back from 3-1 in that spot.
Yeah, that was that. Off to the round of 16 for Chelsea. So congrats to them. They're still alive, obviously, in the Women's Super League race, Champions League, and for the FA Cup. So they definitely got a lot to play for here. I wanted to give a quick shout out to my Lady Gunners as well. Also advanced to the round of 16. They had some FA Cup action going down today. They beat Watford 5-1. Emily Fox's first action as a Lady Gunner. They got goals from Amanda Illistedt, Alessia Roussos, Dina Blackstenius, Frida Monum, and Leah Vilti off a really slick Victoria Pelova dummy. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. I don't know, for my money, Victoria Pelova, she notches an assist in the official ITC record book on that one as well.
100%. It's so weird. I saw a video recently, I think it was like either yesterday or the day before. So before this match was played, of a football coach talking about, you're making the near post run. Unless you are free and clear, it is nearly impossible to get that perfect touch to tap it into the net. So unless you have that space, let it run. Let it run right through you and hope that your middle runner is going to be able to get it. And that's exactly what Pelova did. It was a genius play. Bonus points for letting it go through your legs to totally fool the defenders, to totally, like, because when you let it go through your legs, you freeze everybody on top of it because they think that you're setting up to hit it with your right foot. So I thought it was a brilliant move. I'm with you. Into the channel record books. An assist for Pelova.
Notch it. One more match I want to hit, Roma in Serie A Femenil. They top Calcio 3-0. Evelyn Vienne's wonderful strike from a bit of distance to get Roma on the board. Great to see her back in her scoring vibe. She's had some spotty performances in Champions League, and I think getting a goal like this early in a big match, perfect springboard for her to get her back into the mix. Laura Firesinger taps in a second for Roma, pinpoint assist from Lucia de Giulielmo, and Emily Javi ices it in the 53rd. 3-0 Roma, really nice win for them. Hopefully this kind of win gets them back on track, heading back into Champions League action next week and the following week. They, again, are in that Group C group of life. They had a tough back-to-back stretch against PSG. They'll take on Bayern and Ajax to try to survive that group of life. So shout out to them. We'll keep an eye out for what kind of form they're in.
I've missed Roma. It's good to see them play again. Quickly ascended to one of our favorite clubs to watch in the UEFA Women's Champions League. I mean, you nailed it. Awesome strike by Viennes. I love the way she set herself up to get the ball to her right foot to blast that into the net. I thought that was really great. And it's an interesting run of matches for them, too. They have a little club called Inter Milan on January 20th. Decent program they have over there. And so they go from that on January 20th right before their showdown with Bayern Munich in the Champions League on January 24th. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of manage the players' health and their time. But yeah, even if they are sitting at fourth place in their group, Group C, as you say accurately, the group of life, the group where everybody's goal differential is 0. They're 2 points behind PSG and they're 3 points behind Ajax, 1 point behind Bayern. And like you said, they get to play Bayern and Ajax. They have everything to play for. So super psyched to see them get back into some good form.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, shout out to Emanuela Giuliano, 74 on the Guardian's top 100 list. No Valentina Giacinti. Minor quibble,
like
minor baby quibble there.
I don't like it.
Run up the flagpole. Let's get some of the editors on this.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
I do think there is one thing I'm going to, again, maybe this is a little self-involved as a Lioness supporter. We talked about Chelsea. Millie Bright, once again, did not appear in this match. And I do think there's something to say. They kind of have a little bit of a dogfight with West Ham, and credit to West Ham. But now you're down Sam Kerr, and you've been down Millie Bright for a while. I don't think it's panic time. I think it's far from panic time if you're Chelsea. You have a deep squad, but they're going to need to have a deep squad with those two stars out. And so I want to hear your reaction to this quote from future U.S. Women's National Team, current Chelsea manager Emma Hayes, about Millie Bright. This is a couple days ago on Chelsea's official website. Quote, "She's in rehab at the minute and working hard on that. I can't give a timeline for a return, as I've said many times over. She's in good spirits and she'll be back as soon as she humanly possibly can. I'm sure she'd put her boots on today if I asked. We just need to get it right for Millie's long-term future." End quote. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love somebody has a knee injury or somebody has a lower extremity injury and she's supposed to be out a few weeks. And now we're throwing around quotes with the phrase long-term future. Am I panicking? I have a vested interest in the Lionesses winning the Euros and being successful. I do not love that quote.
I'm going to go the other way, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to say, shout out to Emma Hayes. She's probably right. If she says that Millie Bright would play, if asked, if the Champions League final was tomorrow, she'd probably see her at least on the bench, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think she's lying about that part. And maybe a little gamesmanship, right? So Chelsea's in the driver's seat in the WSL. They're leading their group in Champions League. We don't really get to the nitty gritty of the Champions League for a month and a half, 2 months.
True.
So what is the rush? It's not like they're falling apart. It's not like she plays the same position as Sam Kerr. Obviously offensive firepower is, not not Chelsea's weakness. And defensively, I think they're pretty stout.
Still, yeah.
Obviously, they gave up the goal today to West Ham, but I like it. I don't think there's any reason to rush her back. Obviously, you've got the big international tournaments happening this summer. And then again, the deep waters of the Champions League are still weeks and weeks away. So I kind of like it. I kind of respect Emma Hayes and her position here. And I think this is the most important part. I I do think she's being forthcoming. I do think she believes
Yeah.
both those things. We're protecting Millie, and if Millie had the opportunity to say, hey, I'm playing, I do believe that she would.
I think that's a super smart read on it. And I appreciate your rational line of thinking in it. That's just, and I think you nailed it. I think Emma Hayes is being truthful, and I am always for a manager not being an asshole and rushing a player back or like trying to put pressure or making like little kind of like snide quotes about like, oh, well, they didn't feel like they could play today. You know, like, I mean, in American sports, we see that all the time. I've seen
Yeah.
football managers do it in Europe a lot as well. The fact that Emma Hayes said she would play because that's how she played. And she gave Millie Bright retroactive credit and said she pushed it through the World Cup because she had to captain that squad and she was playing in the World Cup. So it seems like Emma Hayes is definitely on that right side of those things. I think for me, selfishly, I am concerned about the severity of the injury, but you raise a really good point of don't even rush her back. Give her the extra month if we have to. And so you've helped me improve my outlook. So I appreciate that. I'm still, I don't love that my captain, my defensive stalwart center back is hurt, but I mean, that goes without saying, I guess.
Excellent point in the fact that, in the States, you hear it all the time. Like, oh, I guess so-and-so's knee is still hurting. Just kind of
Yeah,
I'm glad
just
we're not
shitty.
seeing any of that.
Yeah,
I know,
that's a
just
shitty
terrible.
game.
Just so dehumanizing. But yeah, shout out to Millie Bright. We want to see you back out there soon, but in a safe way, right?
Exactly.
A lot of stakes just hovering around everything we're doing here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. I think we did it. It's been another episode of Into the Channel. Subscribe or follow us, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen. Comments, ratings, and reviews, always appreciated. At ITC_pod on X, at Into the Channel pod on Threads. Huge thank you to my co-host, Mr. Grand Angle, for always looking out for a guy.
I appreciate that. And let me say, my co-host, Dino DeCespedes, playing through injury, playing hurt, toughing it out through illness these past few weeks. That's my captain right there. So I appreciate you always powering through. But at the same time, when you need a day off, take your day off.
Noted. And I know you have my long-term future in mind as well. So I appreciate you that. I appreciate you for that, buddy.
Hell yeah. Always, bud.
All right, man. We'll be back previewing some Champions League matches. Can't wait to do it again next week.
The football's back, buddy. I will talk to you then.